BHP UK, and on the dyno today we have back the Streetfighter V4S. This is a 2023 model, and if you recall in episode 1 we had the bike in and the bike would not run with the exhaust valve unplugged. So we deleted that out of the software, we gave it back to the customer to let him go and run the bike in. The bike's come back to us now, it has been running, and we're going to try and get it set up properly for the Arrow cans and Decat system. So, the Streetfighter V4. Basically, this is obviously, as everybody knows, it's a stripped down Panigale, but what a hideous bike to ride on the road at low throttle and low RPM. Okay, let's just look at the stock figures on this bike. It's 200 and some brake horsepower at the crank. On our testing, it made 183 brake horsepower at the back wheel, but the power delivery at 20% and 40%, as you can see here, really erratic. The 40% curve you can see at 5,000 RPM is making 33 brake horsepower, and then at 6,500 RPM is making 55. I mean, it's not a pleasant experience when you're riding this bike on the road. Let's just look at the power outputs. These are the stock power outputs from 60% to 100%. You can see that there's a huge, big flat spot everywhere between 5,000 and 7,000 RPM. I mean, this bike at full throttle at 6,400 RPM is making 60 brake horsepower, and then 600 RPM later at 7,000 RPM it's making 100 horsepower at wide open throttle. It's just absolutely hideous to ride on the road. I mean we've watched the reviews on the bike and everybody seems to have sort of like glazed over the great big elephant in the room when it comes to the Streetfighter and the power delivery that it gives you at low RPMs. Once you get above 7,000 or 8,000 RPM, it's an absolute ballistic missile and it rides really well. Ducati have changed the architecture a little bit of the software on this ECU, and it took us quite a lot more development to get to the bottom of it. But we did get to the bottom of it. At 20% throttle, we've really smoothed the power delivery. You can see here, this bike comes to peak output at about just over 5,000 RPM, then trails off as the torque obviously starts to die away. At 40% RPM, the bike as standard really starts to unleash the power that it's got, but it does it in that, and it's still got that trait at between 4,000 and 7,000 RPM. We've really smoothed the power delivery out at that point. Took a huge amount of messing in the software to do this, but now you can see that the power is a lot more linear at 40% throttle. At 60% throttle, this is where the map really does start to shine. You can see here that huge dip at 5,500 RPM has totally been ironed out. We've now got a fully linear power delivery from 4,000 to 6,000 RPM. Get a little bit of a plateau there, can't really get rid of that, but the bike really does ride really well on the road at 60% throttle. 100% again, the power delivery between 5 and 7 has been smoothed out, which is really the story of the remap on this bike. We've gone from 183 at the back wheel to 196, a good gain of 13 brake horsepower at peak output. But like I say, really on this bike it is the real difference, and the real accolade in tuning it comes from the power delivery that it gives you lower down in the rev range. And you can see here that the difference between 4 and 7,000 RPM really is night and day. Can't really wait to give this bike back to the owner. Really hoping that he's going to enjoy this bike now. It is a bike now that we believe rides really well on the road, but we'll wait for his feedback and we'll let you know how he gets on. This bike is fully developed and is available on our ECU Flasher. If you're not local to us, this device lets you take a route from your bike, send that file to one of our map writers who will modify it, taking into account any modifications that you've made to that bike. Really hope you're enjoying what we bring into the channel. Please do hit the subscribe button, it really does help us out, and if you hit the bell icon, it'll keep you notified of any new Ducati content that we bring into the channel.